Okay, but I'm specifically asking, you're going after RFK Jr. for not following government advice. You have chosen not to follow government advice and get 10 COVID shots like your government has told you. Why are you not a science denier? Why are you not a shot denier?
First of all, because I'm not a science denier. I'm not a science denier. I'm not a shot denier. And I also believe in vaccines.
So why are you denying science by only getting 2 COVID shots?
I'm not denying science. Play. That's cute, but I'm not denying science.
I think you are. You've left 8 COVID shots. I'm surprised you're still alive, frankly. But why'd you not get the other 8 shots, the boosters?
I can show you the 15 shots that I got.
Why are you denying science, Roland?
Africa.
Why?
But it's cute. It's cute, Play.
I don't know if we can share the show now with you being such a science denier.
Play. Your little cute little moment is cute, but it doesn't work.
Where are the other 8?
It kind of does work, actually. But let me go to Jeffrey.
It doesn't work.
Hang on. I think it kind of did work,
actually. I can't be in the same studio with Roland until he gets his other 8 COVID shots. Too dangerous.
Actually, with your body odor, I wouldn't want to be in the same studio. But go ahead, Tubin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so as you can see from the intro, we're going to get a little bit fun with this one. Got a little bit of back and forth going on. We got Clay Travis, Roland Martin, Ronna McFreakin Daniel, who I can't stand that the RNC booted from the top. Get her out of there. Nobody really likes Ronna McDaniel anymore at this point, but what's up, y'all? All right, so as you can see, we got another Piers Morgan debate coming in, and before we get into all that, though, I need you guys to do me a favor. Smash that like button for me if you don't mind. I would greatly appreciate that if you could do that. And also, if you're new around here and you like Piers Morgan debates and me breaking them down, smash that subscribe button for me. But if you're also interested in just how you're being manipulated by corporate press news articles, subscribe to this channel, because that's what I do. My main videos, that's what I'm all about. We read the news and we break it down, show you how you're being manipulated, we get to the bottom of what's fact and fiction and what is all going on in politics. But without any further ado, y'all, let's get into it.
Let me start with you, Roland Martin, because I've got to say, I watched the press conference from the Oval Office yesterday with Trump and Elon Musk and Musk Jr. And all right, it was very unconventional. We've never seen anything quite like it in the Oval Office. But I tried to put aside what I was thinking as a Brit watching from London to if I was an average Joe American, particularly if I'd voted for Trump and had heard him repeatedly say, the moment we win, I'm going to send in Elon Musk to get stuck into federal bloated overspend. And then you hear them basically outline what they've already discovered and what they're going to keep doing. I'd probably be cheering them on. Were you cheering them on?
Hell no. And also, a lot of those people who will be publicly cheering him on, also whining and crying on TikTok because farmers are saying, oh, we can't get our resources. But you also talked about what they outlined. Here's the problem. If you go to DOGE, go to their website, there's nothing on it. So this idea that they told us what they found, but they presented no evidence of it. So that's just them. And remember, in the same news conference, even Elon said, yeah, he makes stuff up. He gets it wrong, or I don't bet 1,000. So can you fully trust somebody saying I'm transparent when they're actually not transparent?
Okay, so that's going to be a running theme of this entire thing. Oh, well, there's nothing on the Doge website. Well, I don't know if you guys have spotted that right there. Yeah, that is me. I did a screenshot of the Doge website going over everything. And yes, they're posting everything. They are being transparent as a matter of fact. And yes, people get things wrong. Humans are not perfect. Like, once again, but when was the last time you saw a bureaucrat come out and say, yeah, we're not going to get everything right, but we're doing our best? They don't ever say that. They always give you this nonsense word salad garbage that it's just like, come on, shut up, dude. Like, really? Like, we're getting real interactions from people that are coming in trying to clean up the federal government, trying to clean up the waste and abuse from the federal government. I'm not going to say fraud because we haven't caught any fraud yet. They keep saying waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, we haven't found the fraud yet. Right? Now, some people could argue that a lot of this spending going on in other countries with USAID, with all this other nonsense, that is fraud. You could also call the, $59 million to house criminal aliens, Trinidad Aragua, as a matter of fact, in a hotel in New York City, you could call that fraud because that's breaking the law, right? That's illegal. We can't be doing this, right? These criminal aliens being in the country, if you're assisting those, that's breaking the law. If you're assisting them being in the country, you're breaking the law as a matter of fact. And if you're sending money to a hotel to house people that are in this country illegally, that is against the law. And that's why that person, or as a matter of fact, I believe it was 4 people, got fired for doing so. Yeah, you can't do that. But these people, they keep trying to deny reality. And this is a common theme with Democrats. They just ignore what they don't want to hear and ignore evidence that's being put in their face. Ignore all of that. Yeah, we've got a lot of waste in the federal government. We need to get this cleaned up. And these people can't seem to understand that. I just wonder, though, if Joe Biden would have come in and had somebody like Elon Musk, I don't know, say Jeff Bezos, to come in and would be doing the exact same thing that Elon Musk is doing. I wonder, just wonder though, if Democrats would be railing against Jeff Bezos doing this. And I also wonder, it's got to make you think, let's be a little bit fair here, wonder if Republicans would be railing against this as well. I hope they wouldn't. I hope they would at least have the foresight to realize that that would be blatant hypocrisy, right? The Democrats are a party of blatant hypocrisy at this point, so I'm not going to get out in front of that one. Republicans are hypocritical as well sometimes, but let's keep going.
Look, Clay's made the point, and he's right, that they've all said, Elon, Trump, Pete Hegseth, that they're going to go into the Pentagon spending, and they're going to go through that, and I'm sure they will. They're going to go through every department, it seems to me. Rana, let me ask you this. I mean, I think that Roland made a good point there. It's one thing to say you're being really transparent, and that's certainly what Elon Musk kept saying yesterday. But if the Doge website doesn't have the specific information which shows that transparency, how does the American public see the transparency? I mean, how are they going to get this? Because I think that's an important part of this. I think if they see it in real time as it's unraveling, great. If they don't see it, why should they believe that it's all being transparent?
Well, part of that starts with a press conference that we had yesterday from the Oval Office with open questions and press being able to ask those questions, things we were not seeing under President Biden. President Biden wouldn't even have a press conference. Yeah, but Elon Musk
kept saying, I'm being completely transparent every step of the way. But as Roland pointed out, if you go to the Doge website, there's nothing there.
I agree with you, Piers, and I agree with Roland. It's an amazing thing. I do think we have to lay out what the savings are and show what they're finding. I think that is important as they're finding fraud and waste and abuse. It's important that that's brought to the American public. I think that's going to happen. We are 3 weeks in. I know it feels like longer because President Trump's getting so much done. But I do think that's important as they go forward, that they TikTok. Here are the things that are happening. Here are the things that we found. We saw day one, Doge came in and said, we're going to make people come back to work. The waste of people just staying at home, the amount of the workforce that was not going to work 7 days a week. That's good for our country. We're going to see more and more of that as this goes forward.
Okay, Jeffrey, JD
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Doge told people don't come in. Doge said don't come in. Then they offered these fake buyouts that Congress has not appropriated any money for. What are you talking about? Doge already said don't come in.
The government workers that are necessary, they are saying you're going to have to show up to work 7 days a week like everybody else in real America is doing. I mean, why can you have an entire federal workforce working remote? It's just not feasible.
Hold on. And I understand that, but Doge said don't come to work. Doge said don't come to work. Then they offered buyouts that Congress has not authorized. You have there's nowhere. No. You didn't hear what I just said. That Congress has not authorized buyouts. How can Doge offer buyouts to federal workers that has not been appropriated by Congress? How?
Just like businesses do it. They go to their employees and they say, you know what, we're going to buy you out because we're going to have layoffs. And here's a buyout option. And they're giving them that option because they're trying to help those people have a severance of 8 months, which is very generous. And it's going to be seen in the courts. We're going to see this in the courts.
Rona, you're wrong. When there were buyouts under President Bill Clinton, Congress passed a law authorizing the $25,000 buyout. You cannot just make, I'm Elon Musk, the co-president.
In the private sector, In the private sector,
This is
companies
not
go to
the
employees
private
all the
sector,
time and
Rona.
offer buyouts and then say, if you don't take this buyout, you have a potential of being laid off. That's how the
Okay.
private sector works.
Rona,
and people are
the
saying the
United
government
States
should work like the private sector.
Rona, the United States Constitution explicitly states that anything as relates to money starts in the House of Representatives. It does not state that the executive branch can actually spend money. That's not the executive branch can't do that.
That brings me.
We'll see
Hang on.
Okay, there's so many things wrong with this right here. Like this guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's start off with the employees coming into work. Now, the longtime viewers of this channel know we covered an article like a week ago or something like that, where Donald Trump said, yes, if you're going to be employed here, you have to come into the office. Right? He's trying to stop this work from home. So yes, that is true. At the same time, he's also trying to get rid of a bunch of federal employees. Now, both of these things can be true at the same time, Ronald, as we all know. You can lay off a bunch of employees, get this buyout program that at this point has been approved by the courts. Right? That is not a congressional thing. That was one of the arguments of the lawsuit they tried to bring. Right? The argument, there were several arguments, but that was one of them, that, Donald Trump has no authority to appropriate money that hasn't been appropriated yet by Congress. And sure, fine, whatever. Technically, that is correct. However, we know that those appropriations, they're going to be approved. So let's wait and see. Let's hang on to this buyout program and wait until that goes through, which they, as a matter of fact, they are currently working on right now. So maybe it's a wait and see game. The federal courts have already approved it. So once Congress approves the appropriations, there is nothing stopping any of this from taking place. And we already know there's 77,000 federal employees that are willing to take that buyout program, and yay for that. And we are getting rid of federal employees left and right. Now, it's on small scales, 1,500 here, 2,000 here, 500, blah, 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 blah. You get it, right? So he's wrong about how all this works. Like, sure, it does start with Congress, right? But who makes up the budget that Congress approves? The executive branch. The executive branch also has the authority to reallocate money, to take it away from here and move it over there without the authority of Congress. This has been shown time and time again. Biden did this on a vast scale, as a matter of fact, and we covered a lot of those articles right here on this channel when they were moving money from this department through FEMA to give to criminal aliens, to subsidize criminal aliens, which is absurd on its face, right? So that's not how this works. Congress has to approve the budget, right? But once that budget is put into place, if things need to be shifted around, that falls squarely under Article 2. As a matter of fact, this guy needs to read up a little bit more on that. You love how they started it off with, oh, well, Doge isn't posting nothing. And now Piers Morgan even fell for that trap. Yet there is a lot of evidence of everything that they're finding. They are being transparent, which, yeah, maybe not to the liking of Democrats. Maybe they don't like the amount of transparency, but they are being transparent. And, as a matter of fact, I'm enjoying this because when they do get stuff wrong, Elon Musk comes out and admitted, like, with the condoms thing in Gaza. Okay, so we got that wrong. That was something totally different. But regardless, at least they admitted it. When was the last time you get Joe Biden or any other Democrat politician or Republican for that matter, because, Republicans do this too. These career politicians, this is why I can't stand career politicians. They never admit that they were wrong. They will always try to make up excuses as to why they did what they did, or try to get you off of the trail and just divert to over here. Let's talk about this instead of my mistakes. It's like, no, these people, I can't stand the fact that there is a category of job that is career politician. Can't stand that, right? But, with a government as big as ours, I can see how there is a slot for that. But it's just filled up by a bunch of scumbags, in my opinion, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. But hey, look, it is what it is. We do have some good politicians in this country. They're very few and far in between. And I wish that wasn't the case. But that is the reality. let's keep going.
Which is the Gulf of America, as it's now called, that was the Gulf of Mexico. Google has changed the name on Google Maps and been criticized for bending the knee. AP, apparently, just before I came in, have been barred entry to the White House press room because they refused to call it the Gulf of America. And he just prompted a debate we had, actually, as a team here before we started tonight, which was, what's the legality of all this? I mean, if the President of the United States declares it's now the Gulf of America, does that make it the Gulf of America? Who decides? Who has the legal authority on naming that area of water?
You know, Piers, I'm going to use the 3 words you're never allowed to say in one of these programs, which is, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know who is in charge of naming oceans. But here's the thing I do know, that it was terrible to bar the AP reporter from the White House. Let journalists do their job. If he wants to call it the Gulf of America, if the president wants to call it the Gulf of America, that's certainly fine with me. But I don't think he should prevent journalists from doing their job if they don't want to follow his example.
Well, Google does work, Jeffrey. The International Hydrographic Organization deals uniformly with oceans and the U.S. border and geographic names. But guess what? You know what? I'm from Houston, and when that hurricane comes bearing down on the Gulf of Mexico, we don't give a shit if you call it the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico. We trying to get the hell out of town so we don't get killed.
Well, on that we can probably all agree on that.
I learned from my friend Roland Martin. I did not know about that group.
Yes, there's actually a group that has uniformity. Yes,
I have learned a lot of stuff on this show today. Clay, your earlier
and you didn't learn from Clay. Go ahead.
Well, Clay's lengthy monologue earlier about the colonies was fascinating, actually.
You know what I find so fascinating about this is you see it in real time, right? Roland Martin says, the guy says, "Oh, I have no idea." So Roland Martin goes to his phone or his laptop or whatever it was and goes to Google, right? But they fail to mention that the USGS falls under the executive branch. So that is the purview of Donald Trump because he is the boss. He is the executive of the executive branch. So once again, they fail to mention that. But let's kick back to something else, what Piers Morgan said. Okay, so he says the AP got barred from the press room. That is fake news. Yeah, that is not true. As the longtime viewers of this channel have known, we covered this the other day. The AP didn't get barred from the press room. They still have access. They got their credentials removed from the Oval Office press briefing and Air Force One. Those are 2 or 3 very different things, right? They're all on a similar vein, but they are very different because AP still has access to Caroline Leavitt. They just don't have access to Donald Trump. And hey, look, is it petty? That's what I said the other day in the video when we were talking about this. As a matter of fact, it kind of is petty, but Donald Trump's kind of a petty guy. You cross him, he doesn't like you. Hey, that is a human reaction. A lot of humans are like that. Is it petty? Once again, yes, sure, fine, whatever. But that is strictly privileged to go to the Oval Office to interview Donald Trump or for a press briefing or for whatever. It is privilege for these people to be able to get on Air Force One. It is privilege. It is not, First Amendment territory at this point because they still get access, once again, to the press briefing room, to Caroline Leavitt, to the official narrative coming out of the White House, if you want to call it a narrative, which, sometimes it is, sometimes it's facts, but it is what it is. Right. But yeah, I just love the fact that he goes to Google and yet fails once again to go to the Doge website that he claims there's nothing on it. But as we could see, there is stuff on there. There's a lot of information that Doge has been finding that we all love to see, that we've been covering heavily on this channel for a while now, ever since they started doing this. I've been loving every single minute of it. And, there was a lot of argument in here. Well, how come they're not going to the Department of Defense? Well, Doge can only get to so much at so many times, right? Like they're going through these agencies one by one by one by one. you got to get there. There's a lot of agencies. There's like 30-something, 40 agencies in the federal government. So, yeah, it's going to take some time to go through all this. They're going line by line. It's taking a lot of time because there is a lot of federal government. There is a lot of line items to cover to get through all of this. They've got to get the proper authorization to get into some of these places, to go through line by line by line by line, right? And that is taking some time. So all of you people out there just waiting, how come they're not going through the Department of Defense? Well, just wait. Just wait. Give it some time there. I can promise you they will go through the Department of Defense because they're going to find a lot of abuse, a lot of waste with the Department of Defense. I can almost guarantee that. I kind of can't wait to see the EPA stuff because I've been really fascinated by the EPA because I don't care for the EPA all that much as far as the direction that they've been going this past 4 years. It's been nothing but just pushing this climate zealotry all over the damn place. And some of it's good, right? Some of it's not so much. Like the good neighbor rule, which allows states to sue other states for damage to the climate. Like, come on. Are you kidding me on this one? You're suing to pay for infrastructure that was damaged from climate change. That's like, come on. It's just ridiculous. I can't stand that rule. There was other stuff like Joe Biden's push to shut down coal-fired power plants in this country, which was insane. Now, I say it's insane because what it would essentially do if they don't put this scrubber technology on the stacks of the coal-fired power plants, that they would have to shut down by 2032. Now, the problem with that sounds good, right? That just sounds great, because this technology is awesome, by the way, because it would cut out 90% of the carbon dioxide that comes out of these stacks. That's a good thing. But the problem with it is that he's set for these coal-fired power plants to be shut down if they don't have that technology by 2032. The problem with that is the technology is not fully developed yet. At the time of reporting on it, which was 8-9 months ago, I guess, the technology was estimated 2 to 3 years out, right? Which would give them 4 to 5 years from that point to put the scrubbers on the stacks. That's an insane timeline, by the way. Now, I also postulated in that video that, yeah, they probably wouldn't shut these down because that would be political suicide. I don't think the courts would allow them to shut down power plants. But it's just the insanity, the idea that you're going to order these to be shut down. It's just absurd on its face, right? And at a time when inflation was still high, prices are going up, and energy, he's cutting back on energy over here and over there. Sure, we do have a lot of energy being produced in the country, but, he's definitely attacking the fossil fuel industry, which, that's a whole freaking can of worms we could get into, which I'm not trying to get into, but I just don't think it's wise to put such strenuous timelines on some of this stuff, right? Like, come on, let the technology develop. Like, it's going to raise the energy costs, like your electric bill, in other words. Those costs are going to go up because of this, because they're having to push really hard to get this done. They're having to get these companies out there to install all this, and it's going to cost money. It's costing billions of dollars. They're trying to rush the technology, and it's just, I just didn't like it personally. I put it that way. I put it out there. I'm not an expert, but I just didn't think that was a good use of federal power, in my opinion. You want to put the same regulations, yeah, sure, fine, do that. Just make it a more reasonable timeline, for crying out loud. Like, I think it's 60% of the country runs from coal-fired power plants. 60%. So it's just, I don't know, I just found that crazy that the timeline was just so short, in my opinion. But, this is something that needs to be done, as a matter of fact, because we are polluting the planet. We are putting a lot of carbon dioxide. And, the evidence, the data shows that you start dumping too much carbon dioxide, you do get a runaway greenhouse effect. And we have examples of this, as a matter of fact. Now, it's not human-caused climate change, but if we look at Venus, I think their atmosphere is It's like 96%. Now, Earth is vastly different, right? Ours is only like 400 and something parts per million, which is a tenth of a percent. Right? It's 100th%. It's not much, but we're dumping a lot in there. And, you put too much, the climate scientists say you get to this point where you get over the line and the planet itself, it runs away. And you get to 96%, 97%, however much it is. Right? So we don't want that. So we do need to stop that. I ain't going to lie. But they act like we're going to get to this point in 5-10 years and it's just going to be a cutoff. As if there isn't technology to recapture carbon from the atmosphere, for crying out loud. We have this technology. Once again, like I always say, I think we can innovate our way out of climate change because human innovation has proved that we can do these things, right? We had a problem with the ozone back in the 80s. There was a giant hole in the ozone. Oh, we found out that, CFCs, aerosol cans, were basically most of the cause for this. We stopped using this certain chemical, some sort of refrigerant. I forget the name of it right off the top of my head. I can't remember. Sorry about that, y'all. But stopped using that, and hey, all of a sudden, a couple of decades later, and that hole in the ozone is shrinking. It's shrunk a lot, as a matter of fact. It's almost fixed itself. So hopefully we can keep pushing. We can keep doing this. We can keep innovating our way through climate change and get ourselves out of a hole. I think that's a very strong possibility. I give it 90% chance of happening, as a matter of fact. That's just my personal opinion. Once again, I'm not an expert on the climate, but I've looked into a lot of the data. I've looked into a lot of the research. I've read studies, blah, blah, blah. I've seen a lot of documentaries on the climate. And I do personally believe we can get ourselves out of this. There's no need to put such strenuous timelines on this scrubber technology to raise the cost for no reason. In other words, this climate change, the good neighbor rule and all that, it's ridiculousness, right? I don't think that's viable. You're just wasting money at that point, right? Because who is to say that the damage that incurred to your infrastructure, your roads and all this other stuff that they're suing for, who is to say that that is mostly caused by climate change, and who works out the difference from the damage caused by climate change and just regular wear and tear damage? Like, who goes and documents all of this so we can figure out if the lawsuit is applicable to the amount of damage that was concurred? In other words, it's just nonsense to sue over that. I think it's ridiculous. I think these climate zealots I think it's a religion. It looks, smells, acts like a religion. I'm just saying. You got people like Greta Thunberg constantly griping, how dare you? Like, how dare us? Like, it's all of us. It's including you that does this, right? We've built society upon fossil fuels, for crying out loud. Oil is the backbone, the bread and butter of our society. And people want to get rid of that just outright. I think those people are insane. Now, getting rid of oil is just silly, in my opinion. It really is. It's never going to happen. Can we be a lot more clean about it? Sure. I think we could put that same technology on vehicles, jet planes, all of that, to clean up the emissions from those, and we'll do just as good, right? I think that technology could work, from what I can tell. But that's just me, and I've gotten way off into the weeds. So I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna stop it right here. I get kind of animated, if you will, when it comes to the climate. It's just, some of it's just so ridiculous. I just got to point out the logical inconsistencies, if you will, in some of that. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Blows my freaking mind, right? Just blows me right away. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got on this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all don't forget to smash that like button. I bet you thought I was going to end it, didn't you? Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. I would greatly appreciate that, y'all. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay logical. Peace.